Welcome, welcome. This is Shawn Williams, and welcome to Lending with Purpose. This conversation is about empowering you with valuable information, resources, and engaging conversations with clients. And I got my friends on here today as well that will help you navigate the world of lending and enhance your life. So welcome, Broderick Young and Al Johnson. How you fellas doing today?
Doing phenomenal, my brother. How are you, man? Thank you for the invite, and looking forward to having some fun and providing a lot of value today, man.
Doing great, brother. Always a good time when we together.
No question, no question. So, fellas, I was telling you earlier, I always start with a story. The story I really want to tell. I'm not even going to tell it. So let's just get to it. Let's just get to it today. We have a really, it's going to be a great time. We're going to be talking about what it looks like in regards to this whole climate that we're in, strategies for today and tomorrow. And we'll get some financial wisdom from the guys at Reveal Wealth. So let's start with Al. Tell us who you are, what you do. Then after he does that, Broderick, you chime in, tell us who you are, what you do, and we'll get into our conversation.
Phenomenal, Shawn. So first, again, thank you for having us here. Really happy to be here. My name is Al Johnson. I am the co-founder and financial advisor at Reveal Wealth. So Reveal Wealth is a wealth management and financial planning firm based in Columbia, Maryland, but serving clients all across the country, Shawn. Me and my brother Broderick started this firm in 2020, right before the break of the pandemic. And we started with a simple mission in mind, and we keep that mission to this day. We want to reveal the strategies and financial tools that have been used throughout history to protect, accumulate, and ultimately distribute wealth. We wanted to make sure that we created a firm built up of qualified professionals, bringing forth quality solutions into the communities in the marketplace in which we serve, right? And that's been our mission, and we've been able to fulfill that, thankfully, thus far. I love working beside my brother, and again, we're happy to be here, and I'll let him speak a little bit about who he is and why he's here.
Hold on one second, Broderick, before you get going. You told us, what you do and why, but who are you, man? You're a great father. You're an amazing husband.
Oh,
man. Golfer, not so much, but
I forgot, who I am, but everybody else doesn't, man. So Al Johnson, like you said, man, I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I love God. I love my family. I love business. And I really focus on excellence, right? I was, reading a book before we got on here, Mamba Mentality, and that's what I base my life on, and that's what I focus in on a day-to-day basis, man. So I'm not a big talker about myself, but that, in a nutshell, is who I am.
I love it. So on to you, Broderick.
Hey, Broderick Young, as my brother said, one of the co-founders of Reveal Wealth, and he explained our mission. We wanted to definitely create a firm where people could feel comfortable, be transparent, and work with some individuals that are qualified in the space to help get them from where they are to where they really want to be financially, and kind of demystify some of the myths and misnomers associated with finances and financial planning. I'm born and raised in the county of Dade, so you see the bay behind me. I take Biscayne Bay, Miami with me wherever I go. I'm a son, a husband, a brother, as my brother said, God-fearing man, extraordinary individual, ordinary person with an extraordinary savior, man. So I'm a mentor. I like to help individuals as much as I can. And I firmly believe that as long as I can create and add value into this world that the Lord has blessed me to be in, he's going to continue to bless me so I could be a blessing to others, man. So thanks for having us, and always fun chopping it up with you, brother.
Absolutely. So, we're already getting some messages in here. Ron Blackwell said Broderick's great at what he does. I know, Ron.
What's happening, Ron?
Right. and so, listen, we were just on the phone, not on the phone, but before we got started, and y'all asked me how I was doing, and I think I immediately went into, everything's okay. I'm out here slanging 8% interest rates though, and it was just like, this too shall pass is one of the things that comments that were said. And so I do want everybody to know that these are some definitely some challenging times. And given this economic uncertainty in these recent times, like, what are some practical steps like individuals can take to secure their financial well-being, like in the short term and the long term? Either one of you take it.
So I started off, and I think preparation is always key, right? And understanding that there has to be, and I know this is kind of cliche, but there has to be some diversification in what you do. In our line of work, we always see it, and in this Instagram mentality or lifestyle that we're in, a lot of people try to create one-stop solutions, right? There's one thing that you need to do that's going to make you rich. There's one thing that you can do that's going to allow you to create generational wealth or financial stability for your family for a lifetime. And in the truth of the matter, that's not really true. One of the things that we can do, Shawn, to create certainty is understand that the only thing certain in this life is change, right? So we've got to be prepared and be able to pivot in different directions. When it comes to your finance, in my opinion, and of course my brother will elaborate on it, I think that has to do with having different buckets of money, right? In this day and age, I think you should definitely have risky assets. You should have safe money, and then create a moderate bucket, right? But as the old saying goes, don't have all of your eggs in one basket. You should have an and mentality rather than an or mentality. So give yourself some choices, allow yourself to pivot. So when, tough times come, when the rain comes, right, you have an umbrella to get underneath, because usually when those rains comes, there are also opportunities that you need to be able to attack and be able to gain from. So I think give yourself choices, man, and prepare with understanding that the rainy days, and there will be some ebbs and flows within all environments in economic times.
And I'll piggyback on that. I think in the short run, Shawn, what people really can benefit from is recognizing the moment and changing your thought process on the long run. So I've been in this industry long enough to see the tech bubble burst. I was there when 9/11 happened. I was there when the housing bubble burst. I was there when the Great Recession. I was there during the pandemic. I've seen, now I'm here with interest rates at 7, 8, 9, depending on where you are trying to borrow, right? And I know for myself, during some of those earlier years, I wasn't in a financial space to really do much about it, right? But around the time where that housing crisis, 07, 08, 09 happened, I was doing pretty well in life, right? And so I started doing some things with assets that weren't popular, right? And it wasn't the highest rate of return at that period of time, and it wasn't the fanciest solution at that period of time. But I'll tell you now, in this environment, now that I have assets that I could touch at much lower than 8, 9%, what I did back then looks real fancy right now.
Yeah.
Right? It's very attractive right now. So we really have to ask ourselves, we don't know what the next thing is going to be, but there will be a next thing. How are you positioning yourself to have assets that aren't correlated to these things that allow you to take advantage of whatever the next thing is? Individuals during 2020, when the market pulled back significantly, that had money positioned where they can put it in the market at that period of time, they made a lot of money by the end of 2021. Individuals that have access to capital now, where they can kind of negotiate a little bit. Prices aren't coming down significantly in the real estate market, but people aren't paying $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over offering price anymore either, right?
That's right.
So those sellers are a little bit more pliable to you saying, hey, I need you to come down maybe 10, 20 grand. And if your money's right, you can take advantage of that right now. But don't do the same thing today that you did in 2008, 2009. Start preparing today for whenever that next something is going to happen, you're in a position to take advantage of it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. As uncomfortable as it feels, there's always opportunity. And, like we talked, Al mentioned about a cliche, like there's always, like, on the other side of, the adversity, there's going to be a breakthrough. And so for many people right now, they're going through some adversity. But like you said, what I just heard from both of you is the mindset piece, like, being open to change, controlling the mindset that you have to do some things that'll put you in a better position in the future. Let me ask you this though, like we keep saying, this market, this time frame, right? Do you think it's volatile right now? So is this considered a volatile market?
So I can go.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Not as volatile as 2022. And we're talking, and right now I'm speaking specifically about the equity markets. But, I think those things can probably parlay into the real estate markets and the other markets as well. But, I guess the better question is, Shawn, what brings about volatility? In our world, uncertainty brings about volatility.
Yes.
All we got to do is turn on the news. And if you don't know that we're in uncertain times, then you've probably been hiding under a rock, right? So if volatility isn't here, it's on its way, most likely, right?
That's right.
We're in uncertain times. So now in the same instance, kind of like what Brad just spoke about, volatility at some point and historically has also, again, brought opportunity. So, there's a thread of optimism in anything that we can look at, depending on what side of the playing field that you're on. But with the amount of uncertainty out there, I think we're definitely in volatile times, and it leads to the question of, what do we do in volatile times? But I guess that's your job to ask the questions. So I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all do.
Yeah, I definitely ask the questions, but as you know, this is a conversation. Like, honestly, I forgot we're on a live stream at the end of the day. It's like I said, it's like we're sitting around having a cup of coffee or whatever it is, some salty vodka or something like that.
Salty vodka. There you go, salty vodka.
Whatever it is, but like, no, that was a great response, and it was really a setup question. And thank you for hitting that softball and knocking it out of the park for us, Al. But like, what strategies can people use right now to protect and grow during this volatile time?
So you use the inoperative word, Shawn. You need a strategy, right? And everybody's strategy is going to be a little bit different. If I'm 5 years away from retirement, my strategy is going to look a lot different than if I'm in an accumulation phase right now. Or if I'm just getting out of college, starting my first job, trying to navigate how I'm going to deal with, because I happened to graduate at the time where they stopped forbearing student loans, right? So I got to pay my loan. That situation is going to be a little bit different. So everybody's strategy needs to be designed based upon where they are. So, make sure that you're not in a cookie cutter strategy, right? But I think the key is have a strategy, right? And my brother said earlier, the strategy should be an and strategy. All too often people are saying it's either or. You either need to be in real estate or equities or the bond market, or you need, it's funny, we don't hear as much about cryptocurrency right now, but that was a very popular something at a period of time. And what we've always articulated to people is the people we see that are most financially successful are and people. They have real estate and they have investments and they might have a W-2 job and they might have some business ownership and they may have some insurance contracts and so it's an and thing based on what proportions are most comfortable for you and that are going to get you to where you want to be. So the strategy from a 10,000 foot view, you want to make sure your foundation's strong, right? If you're unemployed for whatever reason, God forbid you pass away, you want to make sure that your family is able to maintain their standard of living, their lifestyle, so on and so forth. Then above and beyond that, you look at your accumulation phase. Where are your assets? How are they growing? Are they correlated to one another? In other words, are all of your assets in a situation where if the equity market's down, all of your assets are down? Or if the housing market slows down, right? Are you stuck because now we can't move the real estate the way you want it to move? So you want to make sure your assets aren't correlated. They aren't all correlated the same because you need something that's going to buffer those hard times. And then once you get to the point of the distribution phase, you want to make sure that you have enough money for your life, not too much life for your money, right? So how is that money being distributed And are we making sure that we're not going to outlive those assets? So the key is have a strategy, but depending on where you are, your strategy is going to look a little different.
Got it, got it. And so I just was sitting here thinking about some things. I was looking at the comments, and man, y'all, I remember when you both started, when you decided to partner and begin Reveal Wealth. And so I want to applaud you. Congratulations on that, because I know you're doing really well, and I can see it, and it's just a great energy, and I know you're helping a lot of people. But like, tell me, like, from the time you started until now, like, what's changed, like, in regards to planning? Like, has planning changed, or is it the same type sort of fundamentals? Like, what have you seen, like, in regards to your progression, like from when you start? I know you've been in the business, in the industry, for a very long time, and with wealth management, but I'm speaking specifically with Reveal Wealth. And because you're a purpose-driven company. No matter what anybody says, you are a purpose-driven company. And so over these past 5 years now, almost 4 years,
going on 4. It'll be 4 in January.
Yeah. We just celebrated 5. I didn't even announce it, but 5 years last 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations! And I remember you took that step.
It was a scary step, and it's still scary, but it's it's a great thing. It's fun. Like, it's I don't know if scary is the right word. I think that's just a word that people use. It was uncomfortable. Let's just put it that way.
And Shawn, you say that, one of the things that it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, when Al and I started the firm, you say what's changed with planning, what's changed with Reveal Wealth. I mean, when we started in January of 2020, and the pandemic hit and shut everything down, that was real uncomfortable, right? So I think what was reiterated to us was our purpose of serving people, right? Because we really doubled down on making sure that we were serving people, trying to add as much value as possible. Education first, making sure that people understood what was going on. And that's helped us sustain and keep moving. What has changed, I think what's becoming more important for people to recognize, tax diversification. We've worked with many people that are on the other side, retirees that are trying to manage that retirement income, trying to manage their situation in retirement. And one of the biggest, I would say, sticking points for them is taxes. All of their assets are in places that every time they touch it, they had to pay taxes. And some of them are moving into situations where they need, help with care. You need somebody to come in to help them in the house. You need somebody to come in to help with medication, so on and so forth. And they're having to touch their assets. So not only do you have that extra expense for care, but you got to pay taxes on the money that you're using to pay for the care. So we've been working with our clients that are moving towards, retirement, accumulating assets for different things. We're really keeping a keen eye on how assets are taxed, because in many of the hip hop songs, we talk about it. Doesn't matter how much money you made, how much you gonna keep, right? And if you don't mitigate against not just taxation today, we all focus on it today, but I don't think enough of us are focusing on what does my tax situation potentially look like in the future. Because when you're transitioning, you're 70, 80 years old, you don't really have as much opportunity to get out here and just make more money, right? You're 30, 40, 50, you kind of get on your grind and do some things. But, when you're on that other side, the opportunities for making more, increasing the income isn't as high. And if taxes are taking more of it, it's a double whammy.
I see.
So let me add on to that, Shawn. I think another thing that has changed, not necessarily in regards to the way that we work, but the environment in general, right? I think there's a lot more information and education out there, which is phenomenal. But in the same instance, I think there's a lot of miseducation that what we do today. And we've always been or come from a place of education first. As we love doing webinars. We love going into organizations, associations, companies, and really educating and, bringing forth financial literacy, but more so than ever, we're dispelling the myths, right? Telling people the truth about, what's going on, about the way that certain solutions and strategies work. Because, a lot of times, especially within our community, we've been overcharged and underserved. So like I said, when we came out, we wanted to make sure that there was a quality component to the work that we do. And along with that means that we're educating, everyone on the proper and prudent ways to achieve financial success and put some of these things in the place. So, with the information age, internet being one thing, but now we're in this, again, social media, Instagram age where everyone's a guru, everyone's an expert. We have to approach that with very keen eyes and make sure that we're, putting gloves on everything that we do for our clients and those that we're trying to work and communicate with.
So I want to go there. So two things, and y'all decide which one's going to take it. I want to talk about, you mentioned this Instagram and social media, right? The other thing, because I see that as a disruptor, right? But I also see fintech innovations in general as also being a disruptor. So the two parts that I'm going to ask on this question is, number one, like, you do everything that you possibly can, educate, tell people exactly how it really is and what it's supposed to be. And then you have this influencer coming behind you or in front of you, around you. Like, has that been like a really big challenge for you? Or is it just like, hey, I'm going to give the information and I know that I did right by everybody and I did the best that I possibly could. Not everybody's for me. Those that are for me are going to work with me, or I can reach. Like, how like, what's your thought about that and how are you dealing with that? Because every time I want to turn, like, shut my app off and completely take it off my phone a lot of times, because every time I scroll for something or I look for information, it sends me something about this someone that's this quote unquote expert, that maybe they are, I guess, but like, I don't really feel like they have proof of being an expert besides just having a big following on social media.
Yeah. So I'll piggyback since I brought it up, and then Brian can chime in. So in some ways, in our industry, it's a gift and a curse, right? Because I've been in the business 14 years. Brad was my mentor in the business 25 years. One of the core pieces of what we do is risk management, right? 3 stages of financial planning, risk management being the foundation. Included in that is life insurance, right? And different ways to utilize, or we've always talked about different ways to utilize that tool. For the past 14 years, I've been talking about that, right? Now, due to some influencers, that has come into the forefront because they're finally talking about some of the concepts and strategies that we've always known about. That has brought some awareness to the usage, again, of this tool. So, now people are asking questions and we have the opportunity to educate them the right way. So that's the gift in one specific component. And again, I don't think I said a gift and a curse, but I don't know if it's really a curse that's there, because we go from the thought process that you just mentioned. What's going to be for us is for us. Our clients will be our clients. And let's face it, not everybody is in our tribe, right? So, I think that's kind of the way that we approach that and kind of go from there. Brian, what are your thoughts, man?
I think that there's a certain demographic of people, and it doesn't make them good or bad people, but there are a certain demographic of people that have a hunger for information, yet they don't want to put the time and effort that's needed to really get the true outcome. So they're looking for the hack. Matter of fact, a lot of these people that are these influencers literally say this is the hack, right? And there's no hack on wealth. You talk to wealthy people, they didn't hack their way to that wealth, and the average time it takes for an individual to become a millionaire is 27 years. I don't make up these numbers. These are just the numbers, right? There's been research, data, surveys. So, you got a person telling you that they're going to show you how to become a millionaire in 3 months. I mean, good luck. And we all know these people. So look, let's just be transparent. I have Iraqi dinar in my house right now. I don't know if y'all remember that one, right? Back in the day when we went into Iraq and we went over there to get the oil or whatever it was we went over there for back in the 90s, Iraqi dinar was going to be the thing that blew up, right? That currency was going to change. And you could buy Iraqi dinar. Then, you know, I think I got like $1,000 of Iraqi dinar for $70. And that $70 was going to come $1 million. Everybody in my hood, that's what you was going to come up, right? But I was 17 years old, right? How long am I still going to make financial moves like a 17-year-old? I still got that Iraqi dinar. It's still not worth anything, right? Oh. So if I spent my whole life trying to find the hack, and I didn't do anything that has a track record of success, that's been proven over history to be successful, I didn't have any of those assets in my portfolio, I'm still out here looking for the hack when I could have just been disciplined and doing what affluent people have been doing for the test of time and end up being affluent. So there's always going to be those folks that want to try to find the shortcut. But, you know, dieting is $1 billion industry, $1 billion industry. And there are many people who have some issues where they do need a little bit more help to lose weight. But in general, most of us just need to push back from the table and get some exercise. It really is that simple. But we're not disciplined enough to do that. So we want to buy the keto, the Meato, the Lido, whatever it may be, because we want to hack it for that minute. When in the big scheme of things, if we just push back from the plate and consistently got some exercise, we'd probably be the size that we all wanted to be. Building wealth is the same way, man. There are tools that have been used throughout the test of time that if we plug in and start utilizing those things over time, we will reach that wealth profile that we want. And that's what we try to coach our clients to do. In the meantime, if you want to shoot a moonshot here, moonshot there, cool. But don't let that stop you from doing those things at its core that have been proven to get people to wealth.
And you know what's funny though, Brian? You need to become an Instagram influencer, because you got me over here going and nodding my head, and you know, you got just do that.
Well,
do that, you know.
I wrote down in all caps, no hack on wealth.
No hack on wealth.
No hack on wealth. That was a really big gem right there.
So just to follow up on that, right? And I think really what all of this boils down to, or a lot of it boils down to, is that when people haven't done the prudent financial things, right, that they may or may not know how to do, and they reach a certain point, there becomes a sense of desperation. Right? So that's what that hack is, right? That hack is, I'm desperate and I need to find something that's going to work. And in some cases, it needs to work quickly, right? Or at least in your mind, it needs to work quickly, because a lot of individuals truly don't understand that it takes time, and they don't understand the time that they still have if they begin to make some prudent financial decisions, right? You know, the 40-year-old in us, when we used to be there, or some of the 40-year-olds that we, you know, come in contact with, they don't understand that average retirement age right now is 65, 67.
Yeah. So you still have 25 years.
Yeah, 25, 27 years to do some things, but they're trying to find the hack, right? Rather than just, you know, making some adjustments, speaking in some cases to some individuals that can point them in the right direction, some fiduciaries, hopefully, and, you know, and make some moves. So, you know, I think a lot of it boils down to desperation, and sometimes unnecessary desperation, when if you knew the true story and the real story, you could alleviate some of the stress, you know, breathe, and just move in the right direction, man.
I'll let it move on from there, but I want to double down on what Al just said there, Shawn, because I can't tell you how many people we meet that put a little bit of trust, and we go through and we look at where they are and project, and they're in much better positions than they ever thought they were. A tweak here, a tweak there will get them to where they need to be. But we meet a lot of people who, you know, oh my God, I don't have a lot of time. I'm too late. All right, well, you know, if the conversation costs nothing, let us put a little work together behind it to have an overview and give you see where you are. And we crunch those numbers for them. And it's like, hey, look, you're not as bad off as you thought. You know, this is where you're going to be. We need to do this, do that. But you can get there. And a lot of times that undue stress that people have is because they haven't had somebody that knows what they're doing actually look at where they are.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. So, no, that was great. That was great information. Because one of the questions I was going to ask is it, does it ever become too late? And it doesn't sound like it does. Ever become too late? Based on what you said,
What
Al.
you gonna do and how long you take.
Well,
If you
but
get
I'm just saying, like, I'm
nothing,
not saying if you're coming to you and you're 80 years old and you haven't
Yep,
started
too
at
late.
all.
well,
Too
hey
late.
man, I want to make sure we speak in factual,
Yeah,
ways here.
then
This
you
time it's too late, player. We don't
Right.
want to
then,
wait too
then
long.
you
But
tell
yeah,
them to get the money that Broderick was talking about and go find one of those those situations
Mhm.
or invest in something. But all right, so we look forward. Now we've built some level of wealth, right? How do we protect and keep the wealth? And what planning strategies are in place to protect our legacies?
That's a great question, man. So depending upon where a person is and what industry you're working in, many of us aren't in the situations that our parents, grandparents that had the opportunity to have careers. They had pensions. I talk to my mom every morning, God bless her, and I pray I can keep talking to her every morning for many, many more moons. And the one thing she has is a pension. So we know monthly what we're working with. Many of us in this environment, we don't have that. So as we're accumulating assets, we do need to start making sure that there are resources out there where we can create guaranteed streams of income. And one of the things we try to do for our clients is create that guaranteed stream of income, at least covering the necessities, right? So if you still got a mortgage, you want to make sure that's covered. The taxes on your house, let's make sure that's covered. Electric bill, if you got a car note, let's make sure that's covered. Put some food so you can eat a little bit. Taxes, insurance, want to make sure those things are covered. So that your living expenses are okay. And then above and beyond that, you want to make sure that your portfolio is allocated appropriately based upon your profile to keep you pace with inflation so you could do a few more things here and there, and go from there. But again, everybody's strategy is going to look a little bit different, depending upon what it is they have. Some people may not have a mortgage when they're moving into retirement. Some people may want to sell a home and downsize, right? So depending on what's going on, we try to make sure, you got that guaranteed income to cover those basic needs, those basic, always going to be their expenses, and then some assets above and beyond that so you can live.
yeah, and I'll add to that. You asked about changes in the industry, and there have been some good changes in the industry in terms of some of the solutions and strategies that are out there. Depending on where you are, like Brad said, everybody's situation is different, but depending on your timeline, depending on if you're getting close to that retirement red zone, which we consider 5 to 10 years, you may be looking to add some guarantees or some guardrails around the assets that you've been able to accumulate. And there are some phenomenal solutions out there that will put some floors underneath your assets, right? Allow you to take a moderate amount of risk to still grow while you're in that phase, but that provides some guarantees. So one of the things that we have to do is be open-minded, understand that new strategies and solutions have evolved, right? And then kind of see what's out there, because there are some ways, and you said it perfectly, that you can secure your wealth by working with certain advisors, working with certain institutions, and solutions that can help you along that way. Because once you get to a certain point, losing money is not as advantageous. It's never advantageous, but taking a lot of risk and then losing money can move you further away from your ultimate goal than it would otherwise. So we can definitely assist with that.
Got it. Last piece. Because I know you you are very busy. I'm enjoying the conversation, but just hang on with me for a little bit longer. But last piece on this, something that I wrote down, Al, you mentioned, new strategies and solutions. And one of the questions I wanted to ask as well is like in regards to emerging like financial trends. Do you anticipate any emerging trends, financial
I will
trends?
tell you one out that I anticipate, and I only anticipate this because it's already happening. Taxation to mitigate the expense of long-term care costs. So the state of Washington last year passed something called the Washington Cares Act.
Yeah.
And what the Washington Cares Act does is it taxes payroll, period, everybody, to provide a certain basic level of long-term care insurance for everybody. because it's a state responsibility. Now, some of the limitations are is if you move out of that state, you don't get to take that with you, right? It's only X amount of dollars per day. And everybody has the same benefit. So if you're making $500,000 a year, of course, your tax is higher than the person making $50,000 a year, but you both have the same benefit. The only way that you can opt out of it is that if you had proof of your own personal coverage. So I know right now the legislature in the state of California is talking about it. There's legislatures in multiple other states, but I actually got a letter from a friend of mine that works at Costco. Costco sent its employees in California a letter saying, hey, this may be happening. So I want you all to be aware that this may be happening. So when you look at something that's changing, and you even heard, I believe that the Biden administration talking about trying to do some things to help caregivers, to help this, to help that. States are beginning to really look at, Medicaid is probably the largest payer of long-term care at this point. And what states are saying is, hey, we got to figure out a way to generate more revenue to help offset this cost, because we got this, the silver tsunami. People are getting older and they're living longer, so they will need some care. So one of the things that in the planning space that really more attention needs to be paid attention to is what are you doing to help protect yourself, mitigate for long-term care, because either the government is going to figure out what that looks like for you, or you can figure it out for yourself.
That's very interesting. I've seen that. It was heartbreaking. I had a family who a friend of mine, their father went into assisted living. Do you understand that bill was, I think it was $8,000 to $10,000 a month?
It can be cost prohibitive, to say the least.
The saving grace, couple things. So the mom, his mother, fixed income. She had a pension, government pension. The dad that was in the assisted living, the same thing. But they owned a house free and clear that had an extreme value, right? So it was, looking into either doing a reverse mortgage or maybe some sort of a line of credit to cover them during that point. But it was during that time frame that I realized that, I was like, holy cow, $8,000 to $10,000 a month.
Oh yeah,
and that's after tax, right? That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, after tax maybe, right? Because as Brod spoke of, a lot of individuals, their biggest asset, right, or the biggest amount of money that they're able to touch without selling off assets are their qualified plans. So if you've got to pull that money out of your qualified plan, there's going to be tax. Yeah. And then you have to use that money to pay the long-term care. So you've been double whammied, my friend.
So that 8 to 10 comes out to 10 to 13 because you got to factor in the taxation. And then if taxes go up, it's even more.
That's the problem, bro.
Wow. Did I miss anything? Did we miss anything?
Man, we ready to come back. When you gonna have man?
Whatever you want to come back. So look, tell us what you need. How can we help you? Number one, and then number two, how do we connect with you?
So I'll start. So I think how you can help us is allow us to do what we do, right? Or help us do what we do, what we love to do. What we love to do is we love to do what we're doing here. We love to educate, and we love to provide individuals, families, and business owners with prudent information and financial strategies that they can use to succeed. So if you have a organization, if you have an employee relations group, if you have a church family, if you have a group of people that you want to see succeed, introduce them to Reveal Wealth. Bring us there and allow us to fellowship, allow us to spread the good word of financial literacy, and we'll grow from there.
That's good stuff. How do we connect with you, Al?
Go ahead, Brian. Tell them how to connect.
You can find us at www.werevealwealth.com. You can also find us right on LinkedIn. There's a Reveal Wealth LinkedIn site. You can find us on Facebook, the Reveal Wealth Facebook site. And Al Johnson and Broderick Young both have individual sites on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to find us. You can always connect email addresses, phone numbers. all the information is there.
You can hit that QR code. We got
And
multiple
QR
ways.
code.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so look, all right, $1 million question here. Since there's no hack on wealth, I'm using that one. Guaranteed in all caps. So you get one person, one question. Who would it be and what would you ask?
One person, one question. Who would it be and what would I ask? I can go deep. I only get one person?
You only get one person.
All right.
Today, at least.
Yeah. I'll take it today. So I'll go deep. It's not even really that deep. I'll go with, we call him a person. He walked the earth. I'm gonna go with Jesus Christ, and I'm gonna ask 5 things that I can do to ensure long life, health, success for myself, my family, and all of my loved ones.
Hey Al, you're brilliant, right? Because so Broderick said there's no hack on wealth, right? You just hacked this question because you asked 5 questions in one.
I told him to give me 5 things that's going to ensure all of those things that I want.
But that was one question. That was amazing.
Things, then I'm good.
Oh wow! And then all you have to do is follow that blueprint, right?
All I gotta do is put some Mamba mentality to it and execute, bro. And I'm good.
Wow, that's amazing. No, that's a great question. Great question. 5 things. Broderick, have you thought about who you'd ask a question to?
So it's crazy. I think we hang out too much. So I'm a divert to my second one, right? Because mine was Jesus Christ. I would want to ask Christ, what else could I do in his eyes to make sure that people are able to see his true grace through me, right? That was my, but my second one, man, if I would talk to my grandmama and I want the recipes for them Thanksgiving desserts, bro. That's what I want, man. I tell my grandmama, man, grandma, let me get those recipes up out you, grandma.
Well, you make a mean peach cobbler, so.
But she had more, man. She had more. That's what I'm saying. I got a few of them, man. But she had them.
So you'd ask for all the recipes, huh?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, this is warm my heart. Like Thursday is one of my. Actually, I think Thursday is my favorite day of the week because I get to do this. Like I get to do this, and it's just amazing. At this point, we're friends, man. Like we've been friends for a while. And I just enjoy trying to find ways to support you and your business because I do believe in y'all and what you do. And we really appreciate it. Like I tell everybody every week, Al and Broderick, it'd be just such a shame for me to know folks like you and have you in the network and not share you. That's the essence of what we're doing here with Lending with Purpose. This is how it started. You right around the time you started your business, right around the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic is when we did our very first show. And so 3 years later, right, over 3 years, we're still doing it every Thursday at 2 p.m. Everybody, if there's anything that I can do to help in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Try to remain as safe and as healthy as you possibly can.
Yes.
And, we'll see you next week. Al and Broderick, just hang on with me for a little bit longer after we close out. But thank you both for joining us today.
You got it, brother.
Pleasure, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having us, brother.